Okay, we're in week 7 of distance learning in world history, Miss Simpson's class. And I promised I would make this brief. So, we are going to be looking at two different countries that might not seem related, but what relates them is the concept of communism. So, the first thing I'm going to have you guys do is look at a video about China and how China became a communist nation. It's important to study China because China has become a major world power and they're in the center of a lot of things right now. Um, Unfortunately, they're being blamed for the COVID 19 slash coronavirus, but um, that's not really as important as the other things that we're going to be talking about. The China and their history of communism is one of the reasons why we have such opposition to them. The United States has had a stance against communism since the inception of it as a government in many nations. And the fact that communism has held on in China is a sore point for the United States. And one of the things about it is the United States can't really control China like we want to as a nation. And I say we, I don't mean me, Ms. Simpson, I mean the United States, because the United States likes to control other parts of the world. So there's that. But we're going to be looking at the history of China. I have some questions that I created for you. You're going to answer those on the Ed Puzzle program that's in Google Classroom. And then you're also going to look at Guatemala because Guatemala, which is south of Mexico, at one point was playing around with the idea of communism. And the United States swooped in and was like, yeah, nah, we're not doing that. And brought the CIA in, trained people, and ousted their leader. I just told you what happens, but you're going to read about it and you're going to look at two different textbooks and how they describe what happened and how the United States was involved. Because the United States has been involved around the world trying to prevent communism from happening in other places. We have problems with Cuba because they're communist, China because they're communist, North Korea because they're communist. We have a problem with it as a government system. We have a problem with it because it's against capitalism, which is what the United States believes in as a nation. Um, Even though the United States engages in socialist activities such as welfare programs, such as organized medicine, things of that nature, such as Social Security, things like that. We don't like to call it that because socialism and communism is like a dirty word in the United States. But they have their. The problem with communism is that communism is usually done in a country by force. And ironically, we go in with force and try to keep it from happening. And there's so much irony. There's so much. It's just poof. It's just so much. But in any case, that's what we're going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at China and how they became communist. And you're going to be looking at how the CIA jumped in Guatemala and jumped in their business and ousted a whole country. Um, and I wanted you to see that because one of the things that people are coming out with now and with information is how the CIA has been involved in the drug trade between South America and the United States since all of that happened. And it's been under wraps, but on the surface, but under wraps at the same time that the CIA has been manipulating all of these kind of systems and causing problems, which led to conflict in these countries in South America, which is why people come to the United States because of the conflict that the United States created in other countries. I wanted you to see that and see documentation of that because we get involved in meddle around the world and then we wonder why people don't like us. We have a reason now, our current president, but I mean, let's be real, but we also historically have meddled in other countries in the Middle East, in South America, in Asia, and people are like not cool with us because of that. So, all that aside, we're going to be looking at those two countries and what happened in those places around communism and the Cold War and all of that. So that's the relationship is that the United States jumped in and prevented it in Guatemala. We did not get involved in China. because we were, at the time it was happening there, we were recovering from World War II. So that's what you're going to be looking at. Please complete your assignment and send me any emails if you have any questions.